We move on from Canada to India. Bloodywood have dropped their brand new album.
Same thing.
New Delhi.
These bells that be big about the season. Growing up, I never old, I give you the reason. The boy became a man, but the boy's still breathing.
I don't think Canada and India are the same thing, actually.
Not even close. Not even the same hemisphere.
Only Canadians will get that.
We're the three that's in Canada, so
I should
maybe Jacob's onto something.
No.
All right.
Canadians will understand.
If any Canadians in the comments could please explain, because this guy clearly
I'm
doesn't
not
want
explaining
to. All right, so Bloodywood, sophomore album, New Delhi, following up Rock Shock, debut album, came out 3 years ago, was a top 10 album in 2022 for me. I was really stoked for this album. New Delhi was a fantastic lead single. Big Off featuring Bloodywood, or Big Off featuring Bloodywood, Big Off featuring Baby Metal was, again, a fantastic song. I'm not loving this album on the whole as much as I was loving Rock Shock. A lot of the deep cuts on Rock Shock I found a lot of enjoyment in. Chocolat and I don't know, there's at least one or two other songs that came out on release day with Rock Shock that I really enjoyed, whereas with this album there were 5 new songs to come out. You get the opening 3 and then you get Kismet and Dagabaz in the middle of the album. Kismet is the only one that I've really gone back to a ton. Kismet is by far the standout of the non-singles for me. I would say top 3, maybe even top 2 song on this album for me. I love that song, even though most of that song isn't sung in English. Raul only gets one small section at the end of the song, pretty much. But it's again, I say it a lot when we've talked about Hanabi over the past 2 years, where like, I don't have to understand everything that's being said to just be having a great time listening to the music. And that's really how I felt with Rock Shock. When a lot of those songs, I was having a great time listening to them. Whereas on this album, again, there's a little bit of a barrier to me enjoying some of these songs. Like Halabal, Hut, and Dadak as the opening 3 they're all good. I enjoyed them all. I've added them all to my playlist, but I'm not loving them in the same way that I was loving Gadar as the opening track on Rock Shock. That song had such an infectious energy to it, and I think the opening songs on here have that energy. I'm just not resonating with it as much for one reason or another. I think Hut is pretty fun with the just constant delivery of Hut, 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 Hut. It's
like a football team.
Yeah.
I really
that song would be
enjoyed
fun.
Halabal, man. I think it's my favorite song on this album.
Okay,
actually,
cool.
New Delhi is there too, though. But...
So, talk about Halabal. Why'd you love that one so much?
I think it's the electronics near the beginning. I really like the build up. It's almost like reversed, like chanting at the beginning. I think it's reversed. It sounds reversed. I could be totally wrong with that, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's the instrumentation, the electronics. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of. Oh, what is it that it reminds me of? I don't know. I don't know what it reminds me of. Yeah, I don't know. For me, this album compared to the previous one, it's shorter, so there's less fat. Let's call it that. It's more lean. So I think that's why it, like, was it 9 songs, right?
8, I think.
8, even less. As opposed to the last one, I felt it was like a lot. I don't remember. It was
only 10. It was only 10. But I think
really?
a lot of Bloodywood songs run longer, so it probably feels
maybe that's what it.
Just because the songs are all pushing like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, I actually, I don't know why I enjoy this more than I don't know.
For me, because I agree, I enjoy this a lot more, and I think it's because the energy is both more present, it's louder, and it's more condensed in terms of the track list and the song length.
It's
Yeah,
also
go for
more. It's less experimental than last album. It's more, I'd say, Western.
Yes. Maybe that has to do with their label sign or record signing.
Yeah,
well.
they're on
Hopeless
Fearless
now, right? Or
Fearless.
Yeah. Which, I mean, for us, that works. I don't know how we're like native fans feel about it, but I'm a big fan of this. I thought this was great. Hut, like you said, Jake, my favorite track on here. I honestly, with the condensed track list, I almost with how much the quality's increased, I almost found myself wanting a 10-track album instead. I'm like, damn, come on. But I really thought that there was a lot to like here. I think that for my personal enjoyment, they're trending in a great direction. Songs like The Doc, that Baby Metal feature on Beck Alpha is incredible. Still one of my favorite songs on here.
It's my least favorite song.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that
the feature is what kills me.
I've been on a really big Baby Metal kick recently. I don't know what it is.
Did you hear the new single, Derek?
What's up?
Did you hear the new single featuring Poppy?
I didn't.
You need to go listen to that.
I don't know. I guess Bloodywood, to me, it really feels like they didn't need to level up, but they have. And so now this to me is a great step in the right direction. I would love to see them continue this energy and the production that they have now and move it forward onto a 10-track album that actually feels like something that's cohesive and maybe there's a story to it almost. Like I feel like this band is inventive enough to pull something like that off. And I would really like to see it because, like, I mean, obviously, there's not a lot there's energy to attach to here. Maybe not, messaging that's immediately clear for some of the songs that aren't in English and that sort of thing. But I would love to be able to have a Bloodywood album like that. But in terms of like pure energy and listening enjoyment, they're doing a fantastic job, way better than the album, in my opinion. But I know you were much higher on it than the rest of us, Jake. So.
Yeah, I was very high on that last album.
Was it reminds me of Motionless in White?
Is there a specific song or just in general?
Like that previous album, the very yeah.
Scoring the End of the World.
Yeah, Scoring the End of the World.
Sort of speaking of really quickly, do we know what they're doing? I feel like I just haven't heard anything about them in the past.
They've been quiet.
I feel like they toured recently. Maybe not actually.
I don't have too much more to add. I feel like we've kind of covered pretty much every song on here.
I would say this is my album of the month.
You're valid for that.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like of every album that we're talking about this month. Like, if I'm being honest, I think if we're looking at my top 10 albums of the year right now, I think all 5 of these are in my top 10. And like maybe even like top 6, if I'm being honest. So yeah, March was just a phenomenal month, but like I still really enjoyed this album. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I loved Rock Shock. The last point I wanted to touch on was Jacob, you mentioned the electronics on Hollow Ball that you really liked. That's why I love Kismet so much. The electronics in the build up into the first riff and then in the breakdown as well. That reminded me of why I loved songs like Aj and Gadar from the debut album.
Did we get electronics like this on the previous album?
Yes.
We did. I don't remember that.
I'm like fairly certain. Okay. Yes, definitely on Aj. Definitely on Aj. I would need it's been a while since I listened to that album in full. Just really like 3 years removed. I've really only been going back to Gadar, Aj, and Donna Don.
Do we know what this album's about?
I think this is just supposed to represent their culture.
I was gonna say because there was like Dadka, for instance, was about like great Indian food and like enjoying it. Yeah,
and I think New Delhi is very clearly about like being from Delhi.
What do you guys think about that being the closer?
I think my perspective of it being the closer is skewed because it was dropped as a single, but I think it was a fine closer.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
I think it would work better as an opener, but then Todka would be an even worse closer, so I'm glad it's the closer.
This is why we need the 10-track album. We got the dedicated closer, the opener. Yeah, I'm feeling it.
No, I think Halabal works. Yeah.